2003 was the debut of one of Monster Jam's most popular trucks, Monster Mutt. For nearly 20 years, the truck has evolved through multiple bodies, teams, drivers, and even entire alter egos. So this is the evolution of Monster Mutt. Before Monster Mutt ever hit a stadium, the entire design started as a joke in the shop. The team wanted a character truck that wasn't too serious, something that could stand out next to the hardcore names like Gravedigger and Maximum Destruction. The idea of a dog truck sounded goofy at first, until the sketch hit the table. When the crew mocked up those giant floppy ears for the first time, everyone realized it wasn't just funny, it was marketable. Kids loved it, adults loved it, and Monster Jam immediately saw dollar signs. The original 1950 Mercury body wasn't chosen for nostalgia. It was picked because the curves of the Mercury just looked right when you exaggerated them into a dog snout. That rubber tongue? It wasn't supposed to bounce that much. The team joked that the tongue had more suspension than the truck. From the moment this strange, big-eared creation first climbed onto the dirt in early 2003, fans knew they were seeing something Monster Jam had never quite dared to attempt. Monster Mutt debuted under the control of its first driver, Todd Froelich, who had the unique task of piloting a truck that behaved like a cartoon animal brought to life. Every bump made the tongue bounce wildly, every turn sent the ears flapping with chaotic energy, and every jump exaggerated the truck's already comedic expression. The crew quickly realized they needed to reinforce the ears after a few test passes because they slammed against the cab with such force that they nearly tore themselves off. But even these mishaps only added to the charm. Fans weren't just watching a run, they were watching a personality form. Even in those early days, Monster Mutt wasn't winning every event or dominating the competitive circuit. What it excelled at instead was winning over the crowd. When the truck bounced across the floor, children screamed and pointed. When the tongue ripped off during a hard landing, the crowd laughed and cheered as if they were watching an animated character take a comedic fall. Monster Jam had tapped into something powerful, the emotional response of its youngest fans, and the nostalgic joy of adults who appreciated the novelty. And so the dog truck quickly grew from a casual experiment into a marketing phenomenon. Over the next 2 years, Monster Mutt's popularity skyrocketed. By 2004 and 2005, the demand for the truck was so high that Monster Jam expanded it to a 2-truck lineup simply to keep up with show schedules. The floppy-eared character wasn't just a recurring act, it was a headliner. Merchandise flew off shelves. Plush dolls, posters, shirts, and miniature die-casts all carried the instantly recognizable design of the brown and tan Mercury dog. Kids began showing up in the stands, wearing their own makeshift ears and collars, and before long, Monster Mutt became more than a truck. It became an attraction families traveled specifically to see. During this period, various drivers took the wheel, each bringing a slightly different interpretation to the Mutt's personality. Some leaned into aggressive turns and big air jumps, while others played up the comedic charm of the character, tossing giant foam dog bones into the crowd as part of pre-run showmanship. The now famous bone throw routine started as a one-time joke, but instantly became a signature bit. It was the kind of audience interaction that set Monster Mutt apart from the more serious trucks in Monster Jam's fleet. It didn't need skulls or flames or an intimidating name. It had a wiggling tongue, chaotic ears, and a heartwarming presence that made even casual spectators root for it. But this growing fame came at a price. Monster Mutt's early seasons were plagued with broken shock mounts, bent tail brackets, ripped fiberglass, and constant hinge replacements. The floppy ears, a defining visual element, were the most problematic. They slammed into the cab so forcefully during landings that the crew had to reinforce them almost every weekend. Monster Mutt quickly became known backstage as one of the most maintenance-heavy trucks in the lineup. Yet this didn't diminish its appeal. If anything, the imperfections made the truck more endearing. Each patch, weld, and emergency repair became part of the Mutt's scrappy identity. By the time 2007 arrived, Monster Jam recognized that the Monster Mutt brand had far more potential than a single color scheme or personality. That year marked a major turning point with the introduction of Monster Mutt Dalmatian. Unlike the original brown and tan model, Dalmatian featured a sleek white body covered in black spots, a playful grin, and a more energetic aesthetic. The character felt youthful and expressive, and fans immediately gravitated toward it. But the true breakthrough was the driver behind the wheel, Candice Jolly. Her charisma, approachability, and competitive spirit made her the perfect match for Dalmatian. She signed autographs for hours, posed with kids wearing Dalmatian ears, and became the public face of the entire Mutt franchise for years. Dalmatian's introduction officially transformed Monster Mutt from a single truck concept into a genuine family of characters. Families began attending shows excited not just to see the dog truck, but to see which version of it would appear. Some kids preferred the classic brown dog. Others fell in love with the spotted Dalmatian. It became common to see children holding plush versions of both trucks, and Monster Jam leaned heavily into this momentum. More merchandise, themed events, and marketing focused on the friendly rivalry between the two Mutts. Then came the moment that redefined Monster Mutt forever, the 2010 Monster Jam World Finals in Las Vegas. For the first time, Monster Mutt was not simply a character, a fan favorite, it was a legitimate threat to win the most prestigious freestyle title in the sport. Behind the wheel was veteran driver Charlie Pauken, known for his precise throttle control and fearless momentum. His freestyle run that year remains one of the most iconic performances in Monster Jam history. Pauken attacked the track with unmatched intensity, hitting every ramp and obstacle with perfect rhythm. The truck soared through the air, twisted into massive sky wheelies, and tore across the course with determination that felt almost emotional. Spectators watched in awe as the floppy-eared dog delivered the performance of its lifetime. When the scores were tallied, Monster Mutt was crowned the 2010 Freestyle World Champion. That victory changed everything. It proved that Monster Mutt was not merely a comedic mascot, it was a full-fledged competitor capable of standing alongside the sport's most legendary machines. Monster Mutt had heart, it had personality, and now it had a world championship title to match. In the years that followed, Monster Jam continued expanding the Mutt family. In 2011, the franchise introduced Monster Mutt Rottweiler, a darker, tougher, more aggressive interpretation of the character. With its black and brown paint scheme, muscular stance, and spiked collar, Rottweiler brought an edge to the previously lighthearted lineup. While the original Mutt and Dalmatian appealed to younger fans, Rottweiler captured the attention of older audiences who wanted something more intense. Drivers such as Rod Schmidt and Darren Miguez took early control of the truck and quickly shaped it into a fierce competitor with a distinctive growling presence. Over time, the Monster Mutt trucks evolved from simple concept bodies into sculpted fiberglass works of art. This shift became especially noticeable in 2014 when the Rottweiler received a fully redesigned 3D body. The sculpted jowls, molded teeth, and expressive nose gave the truck a new level of realism and depth, enhancing its stage presence dramatically. The updated body structure also improved durability during freestyle events, allowing the truck to withstand harder impacts and recover more quickly from rough landings. This redesign marked the beginning of a modernized era for the Mutts. Another creative expansion came in 2016 with the introduction of Monster Mutt Junkyard Dog. Unlike its polished siblings, Junkyard Dog embodied a gritty, patched-together aesthetic. Its rust-themed bodywork, exposed detailing, and weathered appearance made it look like a creature crafted from spare parts in a salvage yard. Dustin Brown, a seasoned crew chief turned driver, contributed heavily to bringing this variant to life. Although Junkyard Dog existed only briefly in Monster Jam's touring lineup, it left a lasting impression for its bold creativity and unique identity. It was a reminder that Monster Jam continued experimenting with the Mutt franchise, exploring new ways to reinterpret a concept more than a decade old. By the late 2010s, Monster Mutt Dalmatian had become one of the signature trucks of the Monster Jam Triple Threat series, a demanding format that challenged drivers in 3 different vehicles: the Monster Jam truck, an ATV, and a speedster. Drivers like Cynthia Gauthier, Kayla Blood, Lindsay Reed, and Candice Jolly helped elevate Dalmatian's presence in arenas across North America. The triple threat era gave fans more intimate access to trucks and drivers than traditional stadium tours, allowing kids to experience the playful, high-energy personality of the Mutts up close. Dalmatian, in particular, became a star of this format, captivating new generations of Monster Jam fans. As the triple threat era matured, Dalmatian stood out not only for its recognizable look, but also for the athletes who piloted it. The drivers carried the responsibility of managing 3 competition vehicles each night, demanding endurance, precision, and a deep understanding of varied machinery. Dalmatian was a perfect fit because the truck's personality resonated with intimate arena crowds. The playful nature of the Mutt, combined with the athletic presentation of triple threat, and drivers like Cynthia Gauthier amplified the Dalmatian identity with aggressive jumps, crisp control, and the ability to work a crowd into a frenzy. Many fans who had never seen Monster Jam before remembered the Spotted Dog as their first favorite truck. Dalmatian was not just a competitor, it became the face of the entire format. Meanwhile, the original Monster Mutt continued touring stadiums and arenas, carried by drivers who understood the legacy they represented. Zach Garner delivered strong, consistent performances that kept Monster Mutt relevant in an increasingly competitive field. The challenge for any character truck was balancing entertainment value with competitive viability. Some fans assumed trucks with cartoonish designs were meant strictly for show, but Monster Mutt consistently proved that personality could coexist with skill. Its 2010 Freestyle Championship was not a fluke, and every strong performance that followed reinforced that pedigree. Rottweiler also grew into its own identity during this period. It was not a friendly dog, and it was not a cute dog. It was the tough one, the mutt that looked like it lived in a junkyard and ripped apart sheet metal for breakfast. Drivers approached Rottweiler with a different energy, using its visual aggression to push heavier freestyle hits and wilder momentum. Although it never won a World Finals title, the truck gained respect as a reliable, competitive machine that rarely phoned in a performance. Fans who wanted something edgier gravitated toward Rottweiler, giving the Mutt franchise demographic range from small children to longtime motorsport fans. Between 2018 and 2020, the Mutt trucks traveled globally as Monster Jam expanded into new international markets. Events in South America, Europe, and Australia introduced the franchise to entirely new audiences. In many regions, Monster Mutt and Dalmatian were among the most popular trucks because their character designs transcended language barriers. Kids did not need commentary to understand a dog with floppy ears or a spotted playful puppy. Those traits communicated everything instantly. Show promoters often reported that merchandise lines for Dalmatian were among the longest at international shows. Whether the arena was in Stockholm or Sydney, the Mutt brand connected. By this point in the franchise's history, the Mutt trucks were known for their durability. Crews had fine-tuned ear hinge systems, shock patterns, body mount reinforcements, and bracket placements to reduce failures. The early years of losing tongues, tearing off ears, and folding body panels were long gone. Advanced fiberglass molding and improved mounting systems kept the trucks intact through hard runs. That allowed drivers to push more aggressively without fear of cosmetic disaster. Then 2020 hit, and for the first time in Monster Jam's history, silence filled the stadiums. The COVID-19 pandemic brought live events to a halt, leaving the entire fleet parked in shops for months. For most sports, this downtime was devastating. But for Monster Jam teams, it created a rare opportunity, uninterrupted time to improve equipment. Monster Mutt, Dalmatian, and Rottweiler all benefited from structural recalibration. Crews studied weak points from previous seasons, re-engineered shock setups, replaced worn components, and modernized older chassis. The forced pause acted like a deep breath for the trucks, giving them a second wind heading into Monster Jam's eventual return. When live events resumed in 2021, the energy inside arenas was electric. Fans were eager, drivers were hungry, and trucks, after months of upgrades, felt sharper than they had in years. Monster Mutt Dalmatian came back strong in triple threat and arena shows, with drivers like Caleb Blood bringing high-impact momentum and raw energy to performances. The truck regained one of its strongest periods of fan engagement, especially as social media expanded the reach of Monster Jam clips far beyond event attendance. Viral videos featuring Dalmatian's big air moments and high-speed donuts spread across TikTok and Instagram, introducing the truck to an entirely new digital audience. The original Monster Mutt also returned to stadium tours with renewed force. The combination of seasoned drivers and upgraded chassis allowed the brown dog to perform cleaner runs and withstand harsher landings. Though the sport had evolved dramatically since 2003, Monster Mutt remained relevant, an impressive feat for a truck design that originated as a joke 2 decades prior. Its survival was not accidental. It owed its longevity to a blend of personality, engineering evolution, steady driver management, and the deep emotional connection fans formed with the truck. Rottweiler likewise continued to make appearances in select tours. Its presence remained consistent, cementing its role as the tough dog of the family. Fans who loved the aggressive aesthetic gravitated toward it, and the truck's darker personality offered marketing variety for Monster Jam, balancing the playful sweetness of Dalmatian and the classic nostalgia of the original Mutt. By 2022 and 2023, the Mutt trucks stood as one of the longest-running character families in Monster Jam history. The sport had seen countless themed trucks come and go: pirates, clowns, superheroes, dragons, but few lasted as long or stayed as consistently popular. The Mutts thrived because they were not tied to a fad or a movie license. They were original, timeless characters that resonated with the core of what Monster Jam represents: big trucks, big personality, and big entertainment. The Dalmatian truck especially benefited from representation in triple threat tours. Cynthia Gauthier became one of the most identifiable Monster Jam athletes in the world through her years in Dalmatian. Her precision, fearlessness, and fan engagement made Dalmatian one of the most popular trucks for young fans. Girls who attended Monster Jam for the first time often left the arena talking about the spotted dog that jumped higher than anyone expected. The emotional effect of seeing a woman dominate a motorsport environment cannot be overstated, and Dalmatian became symbolically important to thousands of families because of the drivers who represented it. Monster Mutt's presence in stadium events ensured the franchise remained a constant fixture at the sport's highest competitive levels. While the Mutt trucks were not always front-runners for championships, their consistency and fan appeal kept them in the spotlight. Every season brought clips of impressive saves, unexpected momentum runs, near rollovers turned into miracle recoveries, and crowd-pleasing donuts that sent children into cheers. Monster Mutt had become more than a truck performing stunts. It had become a tradition, something families expected and hoped to see each time Monster Jam came to town. The bond between Monster Mutt and its fans was especially visible at pit parties. Few trucks drew longer lines for photos. Children ran toward the dog with genuine affection, often hugging the tires or posing with the massive floppy ears. Drivers frequently commented that the Monster Mutt pit party experience was different from other trucks. It was warmer, more personal, almost wholesome. The floppy-eared dog seemed to remove barriers, making the intimidating size of the truck approachable and fun. International markets reinforced this connection even more. In countries where Monster Jam did not have decades of brand familiarity, character trucks were crucial in helping audiences grasp the excitement of the sport. Monster Mutt and Dalmatian served as bridges. Fans who had never heard of Gravedigger or Max D instantly understood the dog trucks. In places like the United Kingdom, Spain, Australia, and Chile, the Mutts built a following almost immediately. Video compilations of Dalmatian's arena runs became some of the most shared content among global Monster Jam communities. Throughout these years, the Monster Jam fleet underwent numerous mechanical evolutions that benefited the Mutt family. Improvements in shock technology allowed for higher jumps and smoother landings. Stronger control arms, upgraded sway bars, and more reliable driveline components enabled drivers to push harder with fewer catastrophic failures. Body mounting systems evolved to reduce damage during flips. As the sport grew more extreme, the Mutt trucks adapted alongside it, preserving their ability to entertain without compromising reliability. These upgrades left the trucks noticeably more improved in performance and durability. By the time Monster Jam entered the 2023 and 2024 seasons, Monster Mutt, Dalmatian, and Rottweiler had collectively amassed a legacy few character trucks could match. The original Mutt had crossed the 20-year mark, an astonishing accomplishment in a sport where designs often cycle out within a decade. Dalmatian had become one of the most iconic arena trucks in the world, recognized instantly by families everywhere. Rottweiler had carved out a niche identity with its fierce, rugged character. Together, they formed a trio that represented the heart of Monster Jam's philosophy: excitement, creativity, relatability, and fun. The longevity of the franchise also reflected Monster Jam's commitment not only to motorsport spectacle, but to family entertainment. Monster Mutt was not just a truck created for show, it was engineered and refined over decades to embody joy and personality on four wheels. From its floppy ears to its bouncing tongue, from its iconic 1950 Mercury silhouette to its modern fiberglass adaptations, every piece of Monster Mutt was intentionally sculpted to make fans smile. That emotional impact is something no mechanical upgrade can artificially replicate. As the Mutt story approached its modern era, it became clear that Monster Mutt had evolved far beyond its origins as a joke in the shop. It became one of the most beloved characters in Monster Jam history, carrying the memories of countless families, shaping the childhoods of millions of fans, and standing proudly among the sport's most iconic creations. As Monster Jam entered its third decade of competition, the trucks that had defined the sport's early 2000s boom began transitioning into legacy status. Yet Monster Mutt never faded into the background the way some character trucks inevitably do. Instead, it remained a fixture, a constant presence whose familiar silhouette reassured longtime fans and intrigued first-timers. For spectators who grew up with Monster Mutt's debut in 2003, returning to a stadium 20 years later and seeing the same floppy-eared dog felt like meeting an old friend who somehow hadn't aged. For children in 2024, Monster Mutt was brand new, exciting, silly, and bold, exactly as it had been for the children of 2003. Few trucks can claim generational relevance. Monster Mutt can. The continuity of the character was supported by the drivers, who carried the identity with genuine enthusiasm. Monster Mutt drivers across the decades shared a common trait. They understood the emotional weight of the truck. They knew that families waited hours at pit parties just to take photos with the dog. They recognized that the floppy ears and wagging tail meant more than fiberglass. They were symbols of Monster Jam's promise of fun and accessibility. Drivers like Charlie Pauken took pride in giving fans not only a show, but a memory that lasted forever. Younger drivers stepping into the seat years later echoed that same sentiment, proud to represent one of the sport's most beloved characters. As the sport continued to evolve, so did Monster Mutt's role. In many ways, the truck became a bridge between Monster Jam's past and its present. Early fans remembered the raw, unpolished feel of 2000s monster trucking, when chassis broke regularly and trucks flew with reckless abandon. Newer fans were accustomed to cleaner landings, more technical driving, and vehicles engineered for modern demands. Monster Mutt connected these worlds beautifully. It carried the charm of old-school character design while performing with the refined capabilities expected in contemporary Monster Jam. Dalmatian's journey during this era was equally meaningful. The truck became synonymous with athleticism, especially in the triple threat format. Dalmatian did more than entertain. It elevated the standard of driver versatility. Under athletes like Cynthia Gauthier and Kayla Blood, Dalmatian demonstrated that Monster Jam was not only about raw power, but also balance, agility, and showmanship. Each driver brought a unique flavor to the truck, making the Dalmatian persona flexible yet consistently lovable. A child attending an arena show for the first time could watch Dalmatian blast through donuts, switch into a speedster race, and then jump on an ATV moments later, leaving them amazed by the athleticism behind the character. As Monster Jam deepened its reach into digital platforms, Dalmatian and the Mutt family gained a second life online. Videos of Dalmatian's high-angled wheelies, perfect saves, and full-throttle jumps spread across social media platforms, giving the truck global visibility far beyond the arena walls. The internet immortalized many of Dalmatian's most impressive moments, helping newer fans discover the character even if they had never attended a show. Digital media amplified the Mutts in a way that was impossible during their early years, ensuring their legacy remained strong in a generation raised on short-form clips and viral highlights. Rottweiler maintained its role as the most intense member of the family, especially during freestyle events. Its rugged facial expression and muscular aesthetic appealed to fans who preferred tougher, bulldog-like truck designs. While the original Mutt and Dalmatian leaned heavily into charm and approachability, Rottweiler doubled down on attitude, representing the side of Monster Jam where aggression and controlled chaos drive the show. In stadiums, Rottweiler's presence was unmistakable, and its drivers took advantage of that image to deliver energetic, crowd-thrilling performances. The variety within the Mutt family, sweet, classic, and tough, gave Monster Jam the flexibility to appeal to multiple audiences at once. Through all these developments, Monster Mutt maintained a human element often overlooked in motorsports. It made people smile. Some trucks evoke awe, others evoke fear. Monster Mutt evokes joy. Parents lifted their children onto their shoulders when the dog entered the arena. Fans barked in unison during introductions. Entire sections waved toy bones or dog ears during freestyle. It was common to see children approach the Monster Mutt pit party station with excitement so pure it bordered on disbelief. The dog was larger than life, and unlike many sports mascots, Monster Mutt did not just dance. It jumped 60 feet in the air and smashed a row of cars. The emotional bond extended beyond the fans. Crews who worked on Monster Mutt often felt a deeper connection to the truck than they did with others because the Mutt's identity was so expressive. Keeping the ears intact during rough weekends became a point of pride. Ensuring the tongue survived freestyle runs felt like protecting the heart of the character. The crews saw firsthand the reactions fans had to the truck, and that made every repair feel meaningful. Mechanics worked late into the night not just because it was their job, but because they understood what Monster Mutt meant to families who had bought tickets months in advance. Historically, Monster Mutt's greatest competitive accomplishment remained the 2010 Freestyle World Championship, and the weight of that achievement continued to echo through the franchise. The title proved that Monster Mutt was not merely a mascot, but a legitimate competitor capable of stepping onto the world's biggest stage and leaving with a crown. It made every future Mutt performance feel connected to something bigger, a heritage of excellence established by Charlie Pauken's unforgettable run. Even 15 years later, fans still reference that moment as the turning point that elevated Monster Mutt from beloved character to respected champion. The Mutt trucks also played an important role in shaping Monster Jam culture. The early 2000s marked the beginning of a character-driven renaissance within the sport, where creativity and identity became as important as technical performance. Monster Mutt was among the first trucks to fully embrace personality as a competitive advantage, and its success paved the way for dozens of themed trucks that followed. Without Monster Mutt's sudden popularity, it is difficult to imagine the same level of investment going into trucks like Megalodon, Toro Loco, or Zombie. Monster Mutt proved that fans connected most deeply with vehicles that felt alive. As the modern era arrived, Monster Mutt's image remained consistent, even as its mechanical components modernized. Newer chassis designs allowed for cleaner drivability. Updated body molds improved durability. Refined suspension systems made landings smoother and safer. Though the truck's silhouette evolved with time, its recognizable features, the floppy ears, the wagging tongue, the happy-eyed expression, never disappeared. Monster Jam understood the value of tradition. They preserved what made Monster Mutt iconic, while subtly integrating modern engineering. Dalmatian continued thriving in arena tours into 2024, still one of the most requested trucks among younger fans. In many shows, Dalmatian became the emotional core of the night. Children barked along with announcers during introductions. Families pointed excitedly when the truck performed wheelies or donuts. Parents who had grown up attending Monster Jam in the early 2000s found themselves watching Dalmatian with their own children, creating cyclical memories that spanned generations. Monster Mutt's longevity wasn't just measured in years, it was measured in families. Rottweiler, while often the rarest of the three, maintained a fiercely loyal fan base. The truck's tough persona resonated with older crowds who loved aggressive aesthetic themes. When Rottweiler took to the track, the truck carried a darker, grittier energy that balanced the playful nature of the other mutts. Monster Jam benefited from that diversity within a single franchise. The Mutt family represented a microcosm of the broader sport: fun, toughness, competitive drive, and unforgettable personality. By the end of 2024, Monster Mutt had accomplished something remarkably rare. It had survived changing eras, shifting fan expectations, evolving competition formats, and increasing mechanical demands. It remained one of the longest-running character trucks in Monster Jam history, rivaling the staying power of icons like Gravedigger and Max D, and it achieved that without ever drastically altering its identity. The truck that debuted as a shop joke in 2003 still carried the same heart 2 decades later. The design that once seemed silly proved timeless. It becomes clear that Monster Mutt's legacy is not defined by one championship, one redesign, or one tour. Its legacy is defined by the millions of memories it created. Every child who hugged the tire at a pit party, every family who bought matching Dalmatian shirts, every fan who barked along with the announcer, every moment when a floppy-eared truck launched into the air and landed with a thundering crash that rattled the arena. Those moments are Monster Mutt's true trophies. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Monster Mutt's journey and want more documentaries on the legends of Monster Jam, make sure to hit like and subscribe so you never miss the next story.